So let's take a look at how we display statistics on the screen this time. And right now I want to focus on the shield. So you can see right now, when every time I get hit by a bomb, I lose a unit of my shield until I eventually die. But I think we can make this a little bit more interesting. And so the feature I've added to the game, let me toggle this here, is a shield meter instead. And you can see that now each time I take a hit, I lose a percentage of my shield, and then until eventually it goes empty, and then my ship is killed. So rather than show you the exact code I use to do this, I just want to do a little bit of drawing here to give you some insight as to how you can go about this. So first thing you can see is that my shield is actually, nothing more than a white rectangle, and we did a lot of that drawing before, where you just like pygame dot rec.draw, and real simple drawings. And then when I'm actually playing the game, what you can see is I didn't do anything but other than draw a green rectangle right on top of it. I just gave them the same upper left-hand corner so that they would overlap nicely. So the next thing we have to think about is, where do we put this in our code? So I'm going to go over to this is a code that does not have a meter added. It's distracting. So one of the things that I did is I went ahead and gave my ship a max shield attribute, and this will make some of the code a little bit easier to read, and we don't have to remember that the max shield is 5 all the time. And also in this one, I think I've updated my shield from 3 to 5 just because I wanted it to tick down a little bit more slowly when I was watching the meter. So this is one line of code I did add. And then where do we add the shield or the shield meter drawing code? So we already have this display stats function, and here's the code that puts the number for the shield on the screen. And what I would do is just delete all of this and put some code to compute the width of each of these rectangles and draw it on the screen instead. So let's think about the widths that we have to deal with here. The first one is we're going to have our meter width. And so you can make a variable in your display stats function called meter width and set it to whatever you want. I think I made mine about 200 pixels wide or somewhere in there. And I also have a bar width. And a bar width is just going to be, this is going to be related to the percentage of shield that we have left. So before we do any drawing of these two rectangles, what do we have to calculate? Well, the first thing I have to calculate is my shield percentage. So my shield percent is simply going to be ship.shield, and I'll just divide it by ship.max shield. So these are two lines of code that I'll put in my game. And then I have to figure out the bar width, and the bar width is easy to figure out. So the bar width is just going to be the shield percent. It's an underscore, by the way, not a dot. If you can't see it, it's just shield percent. And I'll multiply that by the meter width. And as soon as I have this number right here, and as soon as I know the bar width and the meter width, so this is going to have to get calculated every iteration of the game loop. Then it's just a matter of using the simple Pygame, the basic Pygame drawing functions to draw these two rectangles. There's one thing that we probably have to worry about, though. In my game, it just happens to work out where I did a meter width of 200, and my shield percentages are always going to be 0, 20, 40, 80, and 100. So I never get a decimal bar width, but it's very possible, right, depending on what your max shield is and what your meter width is, that this multiplication comes out to a decimal number, and there's no such thing as a decimal pixel, so we have to make sure when we're passing arguments into the Pygame like the rectangle drawing functions, right, we have to make sure that this is always a whole number. So what I'm going to do is just take this computation and wrap it in an int function, and that way, if anything, if there's anything in our game that causes this to come out to a decimal number, it's going to get rounded to an int before we actually attempt to do any drawing with it. All right, so that seems easy enough, but I just want to show you one more implementation of my shield, just so it might give you some more ideas where you can spruce it up and be a little bit more creative. So I'm going to restart the game. And now in this version of the game, you can see down here I put a border around the edge, and all I did was make the green, I made the white rectangle just slightly bigger than the green rectangle, and I offset things a little bit. And when I get hit, another thing you can do is I have it at green when I'm at full strength, and then as my shield ticks down, it goes to yellow when I get in like a critical area, and then now I'm about to die, so then it goes to red. And then let's see, and then the game ends. So just, we'll call this a video, like a tips video rather than a how-to video. Hope this gives you some ideas. Hope you have fun with this. I bet you can make something that looks even more interesting than what I came up with here. So that's it for the video. And if you have any questions, let me know.